Welcome. We're delighted to have you join us this evening to learn more about the PASCAL Center and the scholarship communities we support. My name is Luis Sandoval, and I serve as the director of the PASCAL Center. So joining me tonight are our colleagues from the Office of Admissions. We've got Christina Leadham, who's our assistant director of the PASCAL Center. And we also have several of our outstanding PASCAL Center scholars. So together we'll share important information about the admissions process and next steps. We'll briefly review the scholarship application portal where you'll actually go in and apply not just for the Minds General Scholarship application, but also for the PASCAL Center scholarships. And we'll also highlight some of our PASCAL Center scholarships, including Harvey, Grucock, Starzer, Bliss, and Hope's Enduring Flame. We'll conclude the session with a student scholar panel where our scholars will answer your questions and share their experiences about being a student here at Minds or being a part of their individual scholar communities. So please feel free to submit your questions at any time using the chat feature in Zoom. Some questions may be addressed directly in the chat, while others will be posted to posed to our student panel. So with that, I'm pleased to turn things over to Priya Williams from the Office of Admissions, who will walk us through key admissions information and upcoming deadlines.
Awesome. Perfect. Hello, everybody. My name is Priya Williams. I'm one of our admissions counselors here at Colorado School of Mines. Some other faces you can see here on the screen as a part of our admissions team. We have Louisa Dooley. She is our director for outreach. And we also have Jen Gagney, our executive director for the Office of Admissions. So yeah, you can advance to the next slide, please. Okay, so just some important things that you'll want to keep in mind as you're deciding whether or not Minds is the best fit for you. All students that are on this webinar today have been accepted to the university, so congratulations on that. I was checking the numbers earlier, and quite a few of you are actually committed already, which is very exciting. So decisions started getting released in December. Once you received your admissions decision, within a few days of that notification, you should have received an email to set up your My.Minds account, also known as your Okta account. If you have any issues accessing your Okta account, please reach out to the Minds IT department. They are in charge of all those reset requests. So yes, any questions about that, please reach out to Minds IT. Some other important dates to keep in mind, we do have some special program applications that are available to you now. So you can go in, fill those out. We'll be talking a bit about that on the next slide. Another important date to keep in mind is our general scholarship application priority deadline is March 1st. It opened up in December. We'll be talking a bit about that later on in this presentation. Then the last and most important date is National Decision Day on May 1st. That is the date across the United States where universities want to know whether or not you're going to pick them as your institution. So that's when you'll want to let Colorado School of Mines know one way or the other if you plan to join us next year as an ore digger. So that's a little bit about those important dates there. On the next slide, we'll talk about some special programs. So some special program applications you might be interested in include our honors program and our FYSAE program. Here at Colorado School of Mines, we have two first-year honors communities. We have Thorson and we have Grandy. These are great ways for students to inject some humanities, social sciences, or leadership into their curriculum during their first year here at the university. If you're curious about the difference between Thorson and Grandy, highly recommend checking out minds.edu/honors to see those differences. And you can always reach out to their staff members with any questions that you have. Another special program you'll want to keep your eye out for is FYSAE. That stands for First Year Semester Abroad Experience. It's an amazing time where you and 30 other first-year students in a cohort model will go over to Antibes, France. You'll be taking Minds classes with Minds professors and faculty, and really just getting immersed in the culture there. So if you're curious about that experience, check out minds.edu/global for it. On the next slide here, we'll talk a bit about your start here at Minds. Let's say you come to this webinar, maybe you come on a campus tour, you decide that Minds is the place for you. Once you've submitted your commitment to Colorado School of Mines, you will receive a blaster book in the mail. This blaster book provides you all the dates and important resources that you need to know about in order to transition here successfully. So keep an eye out for that. And then if you decide you're coming to Minds, something to look forward to is Hell of a Welcome Week. That is our orientation program for all first-year students. It happens the week before classes start. So for this year, it'll be August 15th through the 22nd. As a part of Hell of a Welcome Week, you'll move into your residence hall. You'll take an impromptu campus tour. You'll have a student mentor that shows you around. And you'll also get to participate in Ore Digger Camp. Or Digger Camp is a signature experience. You go up to the Rocky Mountains with other first-year students. You get to do some bonding activities, get to really know your peers. It's 2.5 days that you're up there in the Rockies. So that's a little bit about your start here at Mines. And then I believe my next slide is my final slide for you all. One last reminder, an important tip, check and read your email often. We are sending updates regularly, so make sure you're checking your inbox. Some other things to keep in mind, we do have some Digger next steps available to you in your applicant status portal. That's how you can make sure you're on track to start here at Mines in the fall. Some can't miss dates, March 1st, that's that priority deadline for the general scholarship application. If you decide you're coming to Mines, April 1st is when the housing application opens. It stays open for multiple weeks, so that's just the first date that you can access it. And then May 1st is National Decision Day. Action items, make sure you activate that My.Minds account. It's really important if you want access to the general scholarship application. And please ask questions along the way. Like I said, my name is Prairie Williams. You also have an assigned admissions counselor based off of where you live, so you can always contact us if you have any questions. So yeah, that's my part as the Office of Admissions for y'all.
Thank you so much, Priya. So just a little bit about our scholarships here at Minds. There are three different types of awards that we're going to talk about briefly. So the first one would be admissions merit scholarships. So these are scholarships that are offered through the Office of Admissions. So things like the Provost Award, President's Scholarship, International Merit Award. The Mind scholarships, these are scholarships that are offered institutionally. So for example, some PASCAL Center scholarships are offered through our office. We also have foundation scholarships, which are funded by private donors or alumni. And we also have departmental awards. So some departments do offer scholarships. In addition, we do have several different scholarships that are offered through the Office of Financial Aid. And again, we'll talk a little bit about that as we navigate through the scholarship portal together. And then any outside scholarships that you receive. So for example, if you receive Gates Millennial Foundation Scholarship, if you receive Coca-Cola or Betcher or Daniels Fund, those all count as outside scholarships that also help to fund your education here at Mines. So the scholarship portal, after you've been admitted to Mines, you are prompted to create your login for your my.minds.edu account. This is the access point to all Mines student systems. So for example, registering for classes would be done through this. You can pay any fees and so on, right? So after logging into my.minds.edu, the first thing you're going to do is you're going to search at the top for scholarship portal. There is a little a search window that you can type in. And this is what the icon will look like. So you'll be using your my.minds.edu login information to access this application. So once you're in the actual system, you're going to go to My Applications to begin your scholarship application. Now, I will say that in order to access all of the different scholarships that are offered through the PASCAL Center, you first have to complete your general scholarship application. This general scholarship application opens you up to all of the different funding sources that we have available through the financial aid office. Once you've completed that portion of the application, then you will be prompted to actually apply to some of the different scholarships that are available, including those through the PASCAL Center. So you'll see a screen that looks similar to this, and it'll give you the opportunity to apply to each individual scholarship. So for example, the Grucock Presidential Scholars Program application is different than the Harvey Scholars Program and so on. If at any point you do have trouble accessing the portal or if you have any issues with login, please contact the Minds ITS help desk. You can reach them at this number. They will be able to help you with your my.minds.edu login. However, if you are having trouble with the actual application itself, then we would encourage you to contact the financial aid office and they can troubleshoot some of the issues with the actual application. At this point, I'd like to invite our Assistant Director, Christina Leadham, to kind of go over some of the different scholarship communities that we have in the PASCAL Center.
Awesome. Thank you, Luis. Hi, everyone. My name is Christina Leadham. If we could go back a slide really quickly. I am the Assistant Director for the PASCAL Center, but I just wanted to briefly introduce, they are not on the call, but familiar faces to the PASCAL Center. So Colin Terry is the Assistant Vice President of Student Life. Aubrey Cray is a PASCAL Center coordinator, as well as Brittany McGarry. All of us together are familiar faces on campus, especially within the PASCAL Center. But without further ado, I'll go ahead and share about the 5 scholarship communities represented on our call today, starting with our Harvey Scholar Program. And our panelist who is joining us from Harvey is Claire today. You'll get to meet her and hear from her in just a moment. For all of these scholarship programs, I'm only going to touch on the award and the program tenets. If you are looking for further information, please visit our website. It's going to have all of that information for you. The website is down at the bottom of each slide. But the Harvey Scholar Program is a full tuition and fees award. This program has a few different experiences built into it. There's an annual retreat, regular meetings and events, including monthly luncheons with donors, community service involvement, as well as an enrichment grant to support study abroad or professional development opportunities. Our next scholarship community is the Grucock Presidential Scholars Program. This is another full tuition and fees scholarship. This program has community engagement ranging from an annual retreat as well as regular meetings and events, including events with donors. This program is focused on leadership. It includes personalized coaching and skill building workshops within the realm of leadership, and includes immersive experiences such as a cohort travel at the end of the academic year, opportunity to engage with world-renowned guest speakers, as well as networking opportunities built in throughout the year. We have Sabal from the Grucock program joining us as a panelist today, so you'll get to ask him all of those good questions about the program as well. We'll keep moving forward. From the Bliss Endowed Scholarship, we have Perry joining us as a panelist. She'll be able to tell you a little bit more about this scholarship program. This is a $6,000 award. The program has community engagement ranging from professional development, service opportunities, social events, as well as a preference to the first signature learning community. This community is a residence hall that encompasses first generation students. So preference to that. And there's a mentorship and support program built into this community, so peer-to-peer mentorship, as well as academic and coaching with PASCAL Center. We'll move forward to our Hopes Enduring Flame Scholarship. We have Simon joining us today to answer any questions you might have. This program award is $10,000, and this program focuses on community engagement, including professional development opportunities and social events. There's opportunities to get connected to leadership, community, and extracurricular that kind of suit your interests and what you'd like to engage with at your time at Mines. And then our last scholarship community represented on our call today is the Starzer Service Scholarship. We have Annie joining us as our panelist for this community. This award ranges from $5,000 to $10,000, and the program focuses on service as well. So how this is encompassed is group service projects and support to pursue individual philanthropic efforts. The community engages in guest lectures, luncheons with donors, as well as skill building workshops. So this is really a like bird's eye view, zoomed out look at these scholarship communities. And we are hoping to get a little bit more insight into what it's like to be a scholar in these communities from our wonderful panelists. So we'll go ahead, hop to the next slide. This is our panel here today. I'm going to kick us off with one question that our panelists will answer down the line, but please go ahead and submit questions for the students in the chat. Focusing on that student experience piece is going to be great to kind of hear their insight. But I'll go ahead and kick it off and ask each of you to share a highlight from your time as a scholar. And we'll go ahead and kick it off with Claire.
Hi everyone, my name is Claire Kuntz. I'm part of the Harvey Scholarship community. One thing that I just really love about Harvey is all of the people. I live with one of the Harveys, she's one of my roommates, and I just feel like I've found my family. And with the Harvey Scholarship community being centered around service to others, I truly believe it's a unique and incredible experience being surrounded by individuals that are as excited about paying it forward as I am.
Awesome. Thank you. All right, Sabal, I'm going to pass it to you next.
My favorite memory as a Grucock scholar has been going to Mount Everest in Nepal with a few of my fellow Grucock scholars and a service club here on campus. So, yeah.
Awesome. All right. And Perry, let's hear from you next.
My favorite event as a Bliss scholar would probably be doing pizza with PCJ with all the other Bliss members. Being in Bliss, it's just a really great way to like see other first gen students and share that similarity with them.
Awesome. And for those of you who might not know, PCJ is President Johnson. He's the president of the university. So it's a cool opportunity to get to share pizza with him. And we'll go ahead and hear from Simon next.
Hi everyone, I'm Simon. Probably recently my most favorite memory was having dinner with the provost. She's got a lot of really cool experience and she's like really intelligent person, has a really cool background that interested me a lot. So I think that's probably one of my most favorite memories from that. And also just being able to connect with different students from freshman year all the way up to senior year, just kind of building a small community has been really enjoyable for me as well.
Amazing. And Annie, let's go ahead and hear from you.
Awesome, yeah. So many great memories from Starzer, but definitely my favorite one is I had the opportunity to be a peer mentor this last year, which for y'all that don't know, it's this class that's basically Minds 101 and all of the intro stuff. And I got to be a peer mentor for the Grucocks, Betchers, and the Starzers. And getting to know the Starzers from my cohort just that much deeper, seeing them around campus and getting to support them through getting involved in school and finding out what they wanted to do here was something that I really appreciated and just loved getting to know that group of people.
Awesome. Annie, that kind of alludes to a question that I've seen come in the chat. So I'm going to ask maybe two or three panelists, raise your hand if you have an answer for this. As a Pascal scholar, we have a lot of opportunities to connect with one another. What are some things that you've noticed that scholars, either across Pascal or in your community, might have in common with one another? All right, and Annie, I see your hand up.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely, as someone who has a big community of scholars around me, I find that it's a group of people who are super motivated, super interested in just being involved on campus. Consistently, the people who I know that are in scholarship communities are also those who are in a ton of clubs, like a ton of extracurriculars, and just seem to be people who came in being really motivated and excited to be in Minds and have this great energy and passion about being here at school.
Awesome. And Perry, I saw your hand go up as well. Do you still have an answer for that?
Yeah, I was just gonna say the same thing. Like everyone in the scholarship communities are so dedicated to like being involved on campus. So it's really nice like seeing them around and connecting with them that way.
Amazing. All right, this next question is specific to the Grucock Presidential Scholarship. So Sabal, this one's going to be for you. What would you say has challenged you the most as a leader? And do you have any specific recommendations when applying?
Yeah, so I think the thing that has most challenged me while being a leader here at Mines is, a busy schedule and working with some of our harder coursework here at Mines. And something that I found useful for that is really meticulously blocking out my time. I live off of my Outlook calendar, and I think that has really proven to be successful for me and as a leader. And then for the Grucock Scholar application, any tips that I would like to share? I think the biggest thing is truly just being genuine. We really want to hear your voice and see how you've developed and are developing as a leader. And so just being genuine and thoughtful with your answers, I think is the biggest advice that I could give.
Awesome. Thank you. This next question is going to be one for all of you. So I will go ahead and do a reverse order of answering. But can you each speak about the time commitment of being a scholar, and what that looks like with balancing things like academics and extracurriculars? Maybe share some of the things that you're involved in on campus to help us understand that a little bit. So Annie, I'll go ahead and start with you for that one.
Awesome. Yeah, definitely. I am someone who loves being involved in all aspects of campus, and I find that I can still be very involved in Starzer while also being involved in other things. Time commitments for this specific scholarship is usually a few 1 hour meetings a semester. Those can be dinners with Mike and Patty Starzer. We also have a lot of other events. We do one big service event every semester at least, which is usually one Saturday morning or one longer day that we have. Aside from that, there's a ton of activities that are for the entire scholarship communities to go and do cross scholar events, which are a few days throughout the semester. So definitely super manageable to be in Starzer and also do as much else as you want around campus.
Awesome, thank you. And Simon, I'll go ahead and call on you next.
Yeah, so my time commitment with the Hopes Enduring Flame Scholarship, about every month we have our a dinner that's about an hour long, as well as other social events that are anywhere from an hour to a couple hours long that you can go to. I've got like a pretty heavy workload. I'd say I work about 20 hours a week at an internship right now, so I think I'm able to balance that on top of all my other classes, and also just the scholarship amount in general helps me participate in things like internships rather than having to work a different job that's purely just to get money, and then instead of just getting money and also experience. So yeah, a few hours a month is probably what I'd say.
Awesome. All right, Perry, I'm gonna call on you next.
Yeah, super similar to what everyone else has been saying. It's not a huge time commitment. I would say Bliss, we have like our specific meetings that are required, but if you can't attend them because you have a class or something, they're super open to working with you and making sure that it does work. And then there are all those other like optional events that you have that are super fun to get to know the rest of your community. So it really fits into my schedule, even being involved in a bunch of other stuff on campus.
Awesome. All right, and we'll turn it to you, Sabal.
Yeah, so as a Grucock scholar, I would say the time commitment ranges from 2 to 3 hours per week, depending on planning and activities for the week. So normally we have an all scholar meeting on Monday evenings with dinner provided, which is always really nice, and always connecting with your scholars and seeing kind of what they're up to is always really empowering and charging. And then depending on if there's like a renowned guest speaker coming that week, the Grucocks will normally attend that lecture as well as get a more personal dinner with that speaker, so providing that more connection and one-on-one time. And then in addition to that, we also have our different committees within Grucock, and so these are kind of divided within the scholars, taking on different roles. I'm in the application and recruitment committee, and so we kind of meet an hour per month. And so aside from all of that, I'm still heavily involved in campus. I'm the president of a club, involved in undergrad research, and then also I'm pursuing two different minors. So like everyone else has said, it's definitely really manageable, and and all of the time it's very rewarding.
Awesome, thank you. And we'll go ahead and close this question out with you, Claire.
Yeah, so I would also kind of agree with the rest of the scholars. I would say Harvey is really what you put into it is what you will get out. Since we're centered around service to others and pay it forward, there's a bunch of Harveys that'll organize service events every week. I'd say I spend 5 to 8 hours on Harvey events every week, but I'm also on the board, so I have meetings. But we have a study hall every week for all Harvey scholars that's 2 hours long. It's super fun. We also have um, luncheons every month. So I'd say, and outside of Harvey, I also tutor 4 hours a week, volunteer tutor elementary through high school students. I think it's really special. So I think that Harvey is very manageable, but it's definitely whatever you put into it, you'll reap the benefits just because it's just such a incredible community. And Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you all for answering that. I'm sure our participants can see a theme that all of our students are incredibly busy across campus, but enthusiastic about the things that they're involved in. I do have one question that is specific for you, Simon. Someone is curious if the scholarship program helped get your internship.
Um, to be honest, probably not. Other than the side that I have more free time now to do my internship, but in terms of actually getting that internship, I would say no.
Awesome, thank you. This is going to be a question again. If you have an answer, please raise your hand. Someone is wondering how much time they should anticipate spending on applications. Do we have any words of wisdom? Yeah, Annie.
Yeah, so every application is completely different. I know that when I was going through this process, I applied to Harvey, Grucock, Starzer. I applied to pretty much everything that I was eligible for. And depending on the kinds of questions that were asked, there were some that I was more prepared to answer than others, or some that I just immediately had an answer for and knew what I wanted to write about than others. Specifically Starzer, which is the one that I was awarded, I think that was the one where I had not only the best, it was the questions that were tailored the most to me. So Starzer actually took me the least amount of time, out of all of them because it was the easiest for me to answer the questions. However, coming up with really high quality answers is something that takes me a while. I think I remember taking around 3 to 4 hours on this application, which Starzer was about 5 questions back when I applied. So definitely make sure that you apply to ones that you're interested in and interested in like what you're doing because it is a big time commitment to be applying for scholarships. But also it's a little bit easier to apply to ones that just automatically align with who you are and questions that you're prepared to answer.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that insight. Again, I'm looking for maybe one or two panelists to spread some insight on this question. So, as a student, what is the best way to apply for different scholarships and not feel overwhelmed by the amount available, or by searching through different scholarships? Yeah, Claire.
I definitely think it depends kind of person to person. When I was applying for scholarships in high school, I personally created an Excel spreadsheet and put all the scholarships I was going to apply for, and then if I applied for it, and then if I got it, if I didn't get it. But kind of when I was applying, I think I remember I applied for Harvey and Grucock. And I looked at the essay questions, I wrote my essays, and then I just kind of sat on the essays for a while, then came back to it. I would definitely it depends person to person, but it helped me to just set aside time to really just think about the questions and kind of just be truly myself. So, yeah.
Thank you. Along the lines of application, oh yeah, let's go ahead, Simon.
Yeah, one thing like staying organized, I'd say it's super important. But for me, I got my Hopes Enduring Flame scholarship through the general application instead of applying to it directly. And I also got it not coming in as a first year student. So if you're feeling super overwhelmed, I guess my advice to you is it's not too late to still get any of these scholarships or any other scholarships. You can still get scholarships later on throughout your college career that will be applied to your undergrad still. So, yeah.
Thank you. This next question is also in the spirit of the application process. So, is there a panelist who maybe struggled with coming up with answers to essays, maybe writer's block? And how did you overcome that? Yeah, Perry.
So, when going through a lot of the scholarships, I definitely struggled writing some of my essays, but I found that like when I just like went back and I went and talked to my mom and I was like, what do you think I should write here? Like, should I add more? Because she really like knows me and knows like what would make the essay personal about me. So that was super helpful, was just like asking someone who knew me really well, like what they think I should say, and then ways that I could have incorporated that in my own way as well.
Amazing. All right, Sabal, I see you have your hand up as well.
Yeah, similar to Perry, something that also helped me was when I was kind of getting writer's block on a particular question. I would kind of relating to the theme of that question, I would talk to a work mentor or somebody that I had worked under previously and kind of talking through what I wanted to write about and kind of having them also provide input and one that also let me write those responses a little bit better, but also kind of gave me that extra sense of empowerment to continue going on and, make these pe important people in my life proud. And then I think another piece of advice, if like getting writer's block, another thing that I did was just like word vomiting and like any ideas that came to mind under like the response. And then through that, kind of refining that and trying to get a common theme, I think is also a good habit.
Awesome, thank you. So I'm hearing a lot of brainstorming with people who might know you a little bit um, and getting some ideas there. I'll go ahead and ask a question for all of our panelists and raise your hand as you have an answer. But I'm curious to hear what made you all choose mines? All right, we'll go ahead and start with Annie.
I love this question. So this is not to dissuade anyone at all, but actually, when I started applying to colleges, Mines was my safety school. Mines was the school that I had at the bottom of my list, and that was just because I didn't know enough about the school to know how great of a community we had here. And during fall break, my senior year, I went around and I toured every single school that I applied to, which include Mines in Boulder here in Colorado. And I actually really didn't like a lot of the schools that I applied to. I went and I found one student told me at one campus, she was like, "Oh yeah, my roommate cut up my notes so that I couldn't study for this exam and so that I would fail and she would get a better grade in this class." I had just like not the most interesting experiences at these campuses, and then I came to Mines. And Mines was so community based. Everyone talked to me about the fact that you could go onto your floor, ask anyone if they'd done the comp sci homework, and they would come rushing out to help you, which was absolutely my experience freshman year. And I come from a family who's Hispanic. Both of my parents are fluent in both English and Spanish, but Mines ran an activity where they were doing a tour and just a whole information panel for families who spoke Spanish. And I decided to go with my dad. And there was a whole event where we had panelists, food, like breakfast. There was a whole tour made for us in a language that was better for my family to understand. And they put in so many resources for, I think, 10 families who came to this event. And that day was the day that I submitted my intent to enroll to Mines because I knew that there was no other school that I applied to that would support me and have the same kind of community that Mines did. And that is true to this day, especially here in the scholar community. I am so supported. Aubrey is like one of my number one people here. I met Christina last semester. She's also fantastic. Truly, in my heart, there is no better place than Mines, and I am so happy that I came here.
Thank you so much for sharing, Annie. Annie is graduating this year, and we are going to miss you so much. We'll go ahead and hear from Sabal next.
Yeah, for me, a big reason that I chose mines was that I knew that I really wanted to do something in my undergrad, focusing on some of the more technical sciences like engineering. But I also really knew that I didn't want to leave behind a more interdisciplinary education, such as the humanities and the social sciences. And at first, when I got into mines, I thought that I would completely have to kind of sacrifice those passions of mine. But when I toured the school and looking more into it, I found that I could really find more and even more interesting ways to kind of pursue those passions. And so, for example, I'm involved within the McBride Honors Program, minoring in public affairs, and then also through extracurricular activities, like the club that I'm the president of, we do annual service treks to Everest Base Camp with a local Nepali restaurant here in Golden. And through that, we've been able to do community-based science research about solid waste management, and then interact with the president of Nepal even as well. And so kind of through those ways and patching together my own interdisciplinary education here at Mines, I've been really happy and proud of kind of the resources available and the way you're kind of able to pave your own education here.
Awesome. Thank you. And Perry, Simon, and Claire, if we could hear from you, feel free to just hop off mute. We could go that way.
For me, it's just kind of simple. I just heard so many people that I knew that came to minds have such great things to say about it. And just being able to hear that like past students loved their experience here made me feel like I would also love my experience here. And so that was just a really great way to like see that Minds was the school for me.
Yeah, I knew I always wanted to study engineering and I just knew that mines was just such an incredible school for it. I am also from Kansas and I knew I wanted to go out of state and it's just been so incredible coming to mines. I can still drive home if I want to because it's only like a 7-hour drive. But I also think that I knew I wanted to do engineering, but coming to mines, I learned I had no idea mining engineering existed. And last year, as a first year, I found out about mining and I just thought it was so incredible and I absolutely love it now. So I think that's just really what's something that's super special about mines is that we're all kind of in the same boat with engineering and there's just so many diverse pathways that you can take. So yeah.
For me, I have a sister who's 1 year older than me. She went to Mines. I heard really good things about it. I'm also from in-state, so Mines has a really, really good reputation within Colorado and around the country as well. So I've done internships all over the country. People know Mines, and it's a really good school. Like I'm also a mechanical engineer, and I know a lot of you guys out of the 354 people who are here. I could bet on 100 of you at least are probably looking to study mechanical engineering and also want to work in aerospace and are probably considering CU or other engineering schools that are small, similar to Mines, but Mines is definitely special in the way that you are able to participate in a lot of research. The community is super close. I have really good outdoor life. We're super close to the mountains here, so you're getting a good balance of school, like academic rigor, and then also I can go ski or do whatever in my free time and have a really good balance while also getting a really good education.
Awesome. Thank you all so much for sharing about your decision to come to Minds. My next question, I'm looking for maybe 2 or 3 panelists, or if each of you have an answer, that is okay too. But I'm curious how these scholarship opportunities helped you find an internship or establish yourself in your career path, whether that's through networking opportunities, programming, things of that nature. So we're looking for maybe 2 panelists to answer. Yeah, Sabal.
Yeah, so when I got here my freshman year last year, and receiving the Grucock scholarship, I had with financial alleviation the privilege to start looking for ways on campus to pursue some of my passions. And then through a senior Grucock as well, she mentioned to look into the sustainability office here on campus. And so kind of through that connection, I was able to become a first year eco representative for Mines. And then through that, I was able to build my passions within environment. And then also because I was able to pursue other things on campus, I quickly got engaged with undergrad research. And so I started research here on campus my freshman fall, and with older Grucock cohort members as well. They've provided support and ways to navigate that and finding connections and how to get a research mentor as well. And so starting that so early on from freshman fall, I've just been able to continue carrying on my passions for the intersections of environment. And by building that and showing interest from like the very beginning, I was able to get an internship at the Yale School of Environment last summer. And so I spent the summer tagging turtles across the Chesapeake Bay. And I'm continuing in that same research lab currently, and I'm just really excited to continue pursuing those passions genuinely and seeing where they continue to lead me.
Awesome. Thank you. And Claire, let's hear from you.
Yeah, so my donor, Hugh Harvey, he graduated from mines with mining engineering. And so when I came into mines as a chemical engineering major, and kind of when I was looking into mining, I talked to Hugh, and it just seemed so incredible. And he has connected me with a bunch of resources. I also think that the alumni sector of Harvey is super strong. Um, because of the Harvey Scholarship, we get a study abroad stipend, and I will be able to study abroad in Australia next spring. And there's actually an alumni in Australia that a Harvey alumni in Australia that studied mining engineering. So I think that's something that's really special. Just kind of all of the alumni through Harvey and the current Harvey members are super. It's a very diverse collection of people that are always able to help.
Awesome. Thank you. For my panelists who are out of state, can you share a little bit about what your transition from moving out of state and joining Minds on campus has been like? And we'll go ahead and start with you, Sabal.
Yeah, so I'm an out-of-state student from California, and so when I was coming here to Mines and moving in, I absolutely knew no one, and I didn't really have any friends that were going here, and so I was that was kind of nerve-wracking at first, but the the odds however little the odds were, my freshman year roommate was also a Grucock scholar. And so immediately from day one, I had a built-in best friend through my cohort. And then just through the weeks of freshman year and through Grucock retreat and things like that, I had these built-in best friends that who were my cohort members in the Grucock community. And um, through those friendships have emerged other friendships, and those friendships have also developed very meaningfully. And so I found great success in leaning into my Grucock community and finding friendships through that as an out-of-state student.
Awesome. Thank you. And Claire, I think you are our only other out-of-state panelist.
Yeah, similar to Sabal, coming to Mines, I also knew absolutely no one. I think I mentioned earlier that I am from Kansas. It was a very scary experience. I will say that definitely I struggled freshman year. It was a struggle, but just the Harvey community is just such an amazing group of people. I would consider them my family. They you just reach out to anyone, and they just accept you with open arms. And it coming from out of state was one of the best things I could have ever done. I've met my lifelong friends here. I absolutely love mines. I love Colorado, and I just feel it was actually so special when I went home for winter break. I kept saying, "Oh yeah, when I go back home to Colorado," and I just think it's so special that I have this wonderful place in Kansas that I call my home, and it will always be my home. But now I have a home here, and I just think it's just this incredible experience of just kind of diversifying your worldview. And I going out of state was one of the best decisions I could have ever made for myself. I love it here. It's great.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing. My next question I am going to pose to everyone. In terms of interdisciplinary learning, how has your scholarship explored you or allowed you to explore different opportunities? All right, Annie, let's have you kick it off.
Awesome. Yeah, this is one that's both for in mines and out of mines, actually. So I was able to take 3 semesters abroad through this program, through being in Starzer. And I did one in France, one in Thailand, one in Cyprus, got completely different experiences in all three places, and truly learned so much about the world and so much about who I was that I wouldn't have known and wouldn't have had the opportunity to do if I wasn't in Starzer. And in mine specifically, I got involved in programs like McBride and two other things. One of my mentees this year, or someone I knew in Starzer last year, actually, she was super interested in Thorson and just hadn't seen the application. And I was able to talk to Lauren, like get her into the program and get her involved in Thorson, um, just learn a lot about what school offers through Starzer since everyone is so diverse and has so many different interests, and got involved in a lot of things by the people that I met.
All right, Perry, let's hear from you.
Yeah, I would say mine is probably the mentorship program that we have in Bliss. My mentor last year when I was a freshman, her name was Jen, and she was a senior, and just being able to hear about her experience at Mines and like ways she got through specific classes that like I was struggling with, and I would like confide in her and tell her that those classes were like super hard on me, and she would give me like ways to get through them. I think that was super special and it really helped me grow as a person. So then being able to be a mentor this year to my mentee was super nice and just having those like connections with other people who have already gone through it.
Awesome, thank you. And I know Sabal actually has to run to class pretty soon, so I'm going to pause us at this question. I do have a question that is specific for the Grucock and Harvey community pertaining to the interview process. So we have a few panelists or a few participants who are wondering if you have any tips on how to prepare if selected for an interview. And we'll go ahead, Claire, if you want to kick that off.
Yeah, just absolutely be yourself. That is number one advice that I can give. It's just as a Harvey community, I feel like we are all just very genuine and ourself kind of people. And if you be yourself, your light will shine through and we'll be able to feel that. Just yeah.
Thank you. And Sabal.
I agree with everything that Claire also shared. I would also like to share that it's okay to be nervous and kind of let those nerves kind of fuel you, but don't let that control you. I really think if you're able to really calm down and ground yourself before the interview, that also really helps. And these are still tips and that I'm telling myself while I'm going through internship interviews as well. And so really taking the step back before your interview and you've made it this far and being proud of that and using that to fuel you through this interview, I think that is also very helpful.
Awesome. Thank you, Sabal. And thanks for joining us for this panel. I know you've got class coming up, so I appreciate you being here. I'll go ahead and pose our previous question if Simon and Claire have a response. So the question again was, how has your scholarship helped facilitate any interdisciplinary study or work here at Mines? And if you don't have an answer for that, that's okay. But maybe if you can share something that you're involved in at Mines, maybe past your scholar community and past the classroom, that might be interesting to hear about. Project, something like that.
Sure, I can go then. Yeah, kind of answering the second question, I guess. Some of the things I've been involved with my senior design and research, they kind of go hand in hand. But through my research lab, we were building it's a brand new professor who came here last year. We're building a lunar rover, and Mines has the second largest lunar test bed in the entire world here. So it's pretty much just like a really big room filled with lunar simulant. So that's been a really cool project, and I've been able to work with a lot of other students who come from a lot of different backgrounds, and working on this collaborative project has just been super cool. And yeah, also I guess more in terms of the Hopes Enduring Flame Scholar, everybody in it is a different major, so being able to hear their experiences and just share that with the things that we're learning within our scholarship group has been really valuable for me.
Awesome, thank you. All right, and then Claire.
Yeah, so a professor here at Mines created a tutoring service called Plus Math Tutoring. It's completely volunteer based, and it is Mondays and Thursdays from 3:30 to 5:30, and it's for elementary through high school students. It is not through the Harvey Scholarship community, but that's kind of how I found out about it my freshman year, first semester. Just because some of the scholars came to threw it on our group chat and were like, hey, this thing's going on. It seems really great. And I tutored a lot in high school, and I thought it would be incredible to do that. And so I went and I worked with Dr. Lou, that is the professor's name, and I absolutely love tutoring. I do it twice a week for 2 hours, and it's just so incredible. And it's about math. It's math tutoring, and I just feel like I love math, and it's just kind of getting these kids excited about math and seeing them succeed. I think it's incredible, and I'm the graduate student coordinator for that, and so I definitely think that Harvey absolutely helped me find out about it and just get me involved in it, and it is one of the most favorite things that I do.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing. We are rounding out our full hour together. So I am going to ask one last question for all of our panelists on the call to answer. This question is pretty simple. I'm just curious to hear what your favorite part of your scholarship community is. And we'll go off mic once you have your answer. All right, Perry.
My favorite part is probably just the connections I've made with everyone. One of my super close friends who I'm going to be living with next year is also in the Bliss community with me. So being able to make that connection with her and then everyone else and everyone in the Pascal Center is just so amazing. So it's really just about the connections for me.
Awesome. Thank you. Let's hear from you, Claire.
Yeah, absolutely. Kind of what Perry was saying too, just everyone in the Pascal community and just Harvey, I love all of them. I genuinely consider them my family. And like Perry said, I one of my roommates is a Harvey scholar. She's incredible. I love living with her. Something that's also super special about Harvey is that the current Harvey scholars, read the applications and we pick the next scholars. And application season is like it is hard to put into words just what it means to me. Just because I just feel like it makes our community even closer with the current scholars and the incoming scholars, and I just think it's super unique to us. And just being on that other side, it's incredible. It's incredible.
Thank you. Annie and Simon, if you have anything that has come to mind, please just hop off the mic and let us know.
It's really hard to pick like just one thing that I love the most about this program, but what always comes to mind is one of my freshmen who was in my peer mentor group this year. Her name is CJ. She went through recruitment, got into Sigma Kappa, which is the same sorority that I'm in, and is just someone that is so hardworking and is just so dedicated to being involved at Mines. And just having the opportunity to meet her and to mentor her has been one of my favorite things that I've done here at Mines. And like that, I've had so many more connections here in Starzer where I've met these amazing people, I've made these amazing friendships that I'm sure are going to last for a ton of time. But yeah, just in general, it's the people. It's always going to be the people.
Thank you. And Simon.
Yeah, for me, I'd say my favorite thing is when we have our meetings every year. We have a certain topic that we talk about. This year, we're talking about leadership, and that's one of the things that you don't really like are taught through the classroom or like talk about with your friends or anything like that. So having these group meetings that we can bring in different industry leaders or just guest speakers, and then also discuss leadership amongst our scholarship group and get everyone's different perspective on how we can be better leaders or whatever the topic may be for that year has been super helpful and helps personal development outside of class.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you to all of our awesome panelists for sharing about your experience as a Mind student, as a Pascal scholar, and as a scholar to each of your individual communities. I really appreciate you taking the time to do this. For all of the participants on the call, Luis and I and some folks from admissions will hang out and start fielding some of those questions still in the Q&A box for an extra 10-15 minutes. Otherwise, thank you all so much for joining, and we hope to see you at Mind soon.